Today I'd like to do a quick review on taking voltage and current measurements in a simple circuit. Here we have a simple circuit made up of a 10 ohm resistor and a power supply with approximately 6 volts on the power supply. So to take a voltage measurement, we need to set up the meter for voltage. So we go to this value right there. We plug the black lead into the common and the red all the way over to the right. So let's talk about voltage and the terminology that we use for measuring voltage. A volt is a joule per coulomb. So what that means is for every coulomb of charge that flows, we have 1 joule of energy. So to measure energy, we can't measure energy at a specific location. What we want is the change in energy from one location to another. That's why when we measure voltage, we say that we measure voltage across a resistor. All right? We have to measure it from one place to another place. A couple other terms for voltage across a resistor would be voltage drop. The reason for that is because what we're actually getting is a drop in energy from one place to another. Just like we would have a drop in energy if we went from one height to a lower height, we would have a drop in potential energy. Well, if we go from one location across a resistor to another location, we have a drop in electrical potential energy. So that's why we often refer to a voltage measurement as a voltage drop. Another name for voltage is called potential or electrical potential. So sometimes the word potential difference is used for voltage drop as well. So if I just talk about voltage only, I might be talking about a battery. So I could say, oh, that's a 9-volt battery. But if we're talking about voltage measurements, you should always have a couple words mixed in there. It should be voltage across a resistor, voltage drop, or potential difference. So those 3 things all mean the same thing. It's the voltage measurement from one side of a resistor to the other. Okay, so let's continue with measuring this voltage. So all I need to do is once my circuit is set up, I just need to measure from one side to the other side. And in the meter, we can see we have 6.21 volts. Okay, another location that I could measure it is actually just right at the resistor too. So if I touch this metal part and that metal part, there we go, 6.20 volts. Essentially the same thing. Okay, that concludes a voltage measurement. Now, let's move on to measuring current. So to measure current, we have to set the multimeter for current. Just all the way over there, A. And then we move this all the way over here. You'll see that there's an A above here, and so that's for measuring current. Like that. The black always stays in the common outlet. Now, let's take a look at what current is. The units for current are coulombs per second. So what the current is, it's the measurement of how much charge is passing through a point at any specific moment. So what we do is we talk about current as the current through something, because we have to go through a certain point. So to measure current, we always have to deconstruct something in our circuit. For example, I'm going to unhook this. All right, and then we have to make the current go through our meter. So if I were to track the charge going through this meter, what would happen is the current is coming out of the power supply. I'm going to put it into the red end of the meter, and it's going to come out the black and back through the circuit and to the power supply. So you see here, I have 0.62 amps of current. The reason we always talk about current going through something is because the current travels all the way through our circuit. We don't have current across, all right? We have current at a specific location. So we want to look at current going through that location. Just like you might look at the amount of water traveling through a pipe, or the amount of cars passing through an intersection. If we want to know the cars going through an intersection, we have to count the cars going through the intersection. We don't count the cars a mile before the intersection and a mile after the intersection. All right, we count them at the intersection. So that's the same thing with current. We want to measure the current at a specific point. And to do that, we have to take the circuit apart and measure at that point that we took the circuit apart. I hope this helps with your practicing for the lab practical on measuring current and voltage in a resistor.